This next news story comes to us from Wesley Yinpool over at IGN. Hi-Fi Rush 2 dev wants it to offer a more open world type of experience, the new owner says. Hi-Fi Rush 2 looks like a certainty following PUBG company Krafton's acquisition of Tango Gameworks. Microsoft shocked the video game world when it closed Japanese studio Tango Gameworks earlier this year as part of devastating cuts that saw 1,900 staff let go from its gaming business. 3 months later, Krafton announced its intention to buy Tango Gameworks. Only the Hi-Fi Rush intellectual property was brought over as part of the studio transfer from the Microsoft-owned ZeniMax Media to Krafton. I didn't know that. I actually did not know that. Leaving the likes of The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo behind. So Xbox still owns those. Huh. Interesting.
They ain't gonna do anything with them, but yeah.
I did not know that. I figured they would have kept it all, but... in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, Krafton's head of corporate development, Maria Park, was asked about the company's plan for the Hi-Fi Rush franchise following the acquisition. Park said Tango Gameworks wants to bring the first game to other platforms, such as Nintendo Switch, and wants to work on Hi-Fi Rush DLC rather than rush out a sequel. Tango Gameworks wants to take necessary time to refine the game and come up with a different experience, Park added. But what of the sequel? Park revealed that not only was Tango Gameworks working on Hi-Fi Rush 2 when Krafton first met with the team, but it had a 6-month-old build-up ready, with the goal of offering a more open-world type of game after the linear level design of the first. Yes, the team was working on Hi-Fi Rush 2 when we first met them, Park said. They want to make sure it surpasses the expectations of the existing fans. For instance, some of the feedback about Hi-Fi Rush was that some people felt it was just going through factories, so now they want to give a more open-world type of experience. I don't think it's going to be completely open world, but more dynamic environment that you play in. Also having more advanced technology applied to the rhythm action so that it feels more synchronized. Honestly, the first thing that just popped in my head is like the jump from I don't know, I immediately thought of like a Jak 2. You know?
Interesting.
Where it's like kind of open world, but like still like restricted.
Not really.
But I don't know.
It's the facade of an open world.
Yeah, but like I'd be down with that. You know, we don't need a massive, crazy open world, but just like give me that feeling of a little more exploration. That'd be pretty sick.
That's fair.
Park continued. I think the build that we looked at was about 6 months old when we went to meet with them. At the moment, because the IP acquisition is in progress, it's been on hold, as all the related assets and tools will be transferred to Krafton from Microsoft. But yes, we'll continue working on it for sure. Like I said, we won't really rush to the market just to deliver a sequel. We want to make sure that the sequel is actually at a quality level that surpasses the community's expectations. Meanwhile, Park confirmed Tango Gameworks was working on anniversary content for The Evil Within, which is now unlikely to see the light of day. Park also said that by the end of the acquisition process, around 70 to 80 of Tango's 90 staff will have joined Krafton. We're also going to backfill some of those positions that are immediately in need, Park added. So the studio total will probably add up to around 90 to 100 towards the end of the year or the beginning of the next. Park also teased that Tango Gameworks has a new co-op online game under development, and that Krafton will bring its live service expertise to bear and help bring it to the next level. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that last part.
So, circling back to the initial part, right?
Yes.
Hearing that the news about it wanting to become open world, it didn't make me recoil like I thought it was going to, because I think that if they do it right and maybe not make it necessarily like full on Spider-Man open world where like you can go anywhere, do anything, but like maybe your hut still serves as a home base and you can just leave from there and go to different places around a cleverly designed world that you can just go to. That it's not Breath of the Wild level or Breath of the Wild depth, you know, anywhere like that. So there's still a chance that they can do this and make it work well. That's kind of where I'm sitting at with it.
Yeah, that's what I would hope, is that if they do this open world idea, that it isn't like a massive open world. Because this is, to me, doesn't fit with the the vibe of the game, I guess. I don't know. Like I kind of enjoyed that it was fairly linear. And it had like its secret areas where you could still explore and walk around and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like if I want, I'm not against it, but I also didn't feel like it necessarily needs it. My only fear is that I hope they're going with this idea because they truly want to and they have good ideas and not just to chase a trend. Because I feel like every other game that comes out nowadays or more, you know, majority of games, everything's open world, which makes sense because we have the technology for it. So why not build this whole big immersive world? But I think people can use it as a substitute for substance, right? Like games back in the day weren't all open world. They're all very linear. There were open world RPGs and JRPGs and stuff, like they existed.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also a large number of just very linear games, but they were just chock full of just substance, content, like good storytelling, great gameplay, also like the beautiful visuals. Like they just checked all the boxes, so we didn't need the distraction.
An open world on top of that.
We didn't need the distraction. Where open worlds can be done well, don't get me wrong. But I feel like in recent time, it almost just becomes like we do it because we have the technology to do it, so why not? And it just it adds more to the game, but they're not actually putting anything of meaningful in there. You know, some games do. Some games put meaningful stuff in there, and it makes sense, and it makes it fun, and it adds to the game. But there's also plenty of games that just add open world to check a box, just to say, "Oh, our game's open world." It's like cool, but is it actually good? You know? So that's all. That's my biggest fear, is that I hope it's coming with substance and with something that's actually worth the open world and not just being there to check a box. But that's my thoughts.
No, I think that's totally valid. I guess really what it comes down to is just we have to hope that we have to hope that Tango knows what they're doing, which I do, just based on the first game.
Yeah.
And them, you know, knocking it out of the park with that. I trust that they understand what this means and, you know, what this task is to undertake, and that they've already, you know, how even we're spitballing about how this map would work out. They probably already gone over that, and they have a solid plan, and they're all on the same page, which I absolutely think is the case. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in them. Like at least with Tango, with Hi-Fi Rush specifically, like the first one was so incredible. It would take a lot to screw it up, and I don't think they would do that. I think they care about this IP too much. So I don't know. I trust them. Just to wait and see.
I think they got it.
I also didn't realize it was taking so long to transfer the IP over. So even though Krafton technically owns Tango Gameworks, it all comes down to Microsoft sending them the Google Drive file with all the stuff. It's like someone just needs to get on that. Like, send over the stuff so we can start working on it, please.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.